just me and my guitar.
Hey, what's happening guys? Mark back here from Mark's Aquatics. We got a new project. The wife came back from the shops yesterday, but she came back with this. And I thought, ooh, that's nice. She said, well, I saw it there, love, and I thought, well, this is right up your street. And I said, aye, it is. I think we could do something with that. It only cost her about £5 or £6, I think it was. One of these little twin drinks dispensers. But what we're going to do with this, I've decided, we're going to make it into a better tank. We're going to have a male in one side or a female in the other side, or two males, so they'll display to each other, and do all that kind of stuff. But we're going to put some under gravel filters in these, which is going to be a bit different. And what I've got is I've got some old lids off of these are old protein, off of the old bodybuilding protein shaped lids, but we're going to make those in under gravel filters, because with this, with that one and that one, you can squash them up. That means when we take the top off of this, like that, you can squeeze them up and you can fit them in and take them in and out. So, well, I say once they're in there, they can stay in there, to be honest. You just hoover the gravel afterwards. But if we need to get them out, we can. But I thought they looked quite funky, those. So I thought, yeah, I think we could do something with that. So stay tuned, and I'll set you up on the tripod and we'll get to work on it. Okay guys, we're back. It does look quite strange, that. When you look at that clear acrylic box with the goldfish in it, really looks like they're just flying out the tank. It's got an effective little thing, that, and it's not that clear, it's quite scratched up. But it still gives it that illusion that the fish come up and they just fly straight out the tank, as you can see, straight through to the wood behind. No backing on it, it looks quite good. But anyway, what we're going to do now, I've got these two jars and I've got two lids. So what we've got to do, I'll explain to you first what I'm going to do, and then I'll speed things up like I normally do so you don't get bored of watching. But what the plan is here is to get the drill, take that bit out, and we're going to want a small drill bit for this one. Not huge. I think one about that sort of size should do it. And what we've got to do now, because that's going to fit in the base of that tank there, in the bottom of the jar. So what we're going to have to do is going to have to drill a series of holes all the way around here. Okay, and we're going to have to drill a series of holes all the way over the lid. And then what I've got, from one of my old under gravel filter systems, I've got a couple of these kicking around, which I've been wanting to use on something for a while, but never got around to using it. And it's these little tops. I don't know if you ever see them in under gravel filters. These had a wider base on like that, but I cut them off because I used it for something different. But these have got quite a small lift tube, and I've got a couple of these little lift tubes there, but they came with carbon in and a little bit of foam, a bit of sponge at the top, obviously to stop the carbon from moving around and breaking down. And then it's got this little baffle in the top there where the oxygen can come through. And so what we're going to do, and I've made those, they fit in there like that. The pipes I've sanded down a bit, so they fit in there now, so they're nice and short, so they'll be down the bottom to let the air rise up through. And then the plan is to cut a hole into the top there like that. Okay, now the air line fits in there, and we'll cut a hole out this size, just the same or a little bit smaller diameter than that is there, and we're going to glue that on the top with a bit of hot glue, and that it's going to be our under gravel filter. So when that's in the tank, you're not going to see any of this because it's going to be completely surrounded by gravel. But then as that air lifts up that tube, then it's going to suck all that debris and rubbish through that gravel, which is going to have all the denitrificating bacteria in there, and that's going to do your filter, and that's going to become your filter system for your little tank. Okay, because I know a lot of people, they keep betters in these or Siamese fighters. If you're in the UK, we tend to call them fighters over here. But people keep a lot of these fish in jars and they just give them regular water changes or whatever. But I don't believe in that. because I mean, people forget. I mean, some people probably do it religiously, that's fine, but you know, I've seen people just dumping in tap water and all sorts into them, and it's just not fair on them with all the chloramines and chlorines that are in the water today. So this is the best plan of action to go ahead. So what I'll do is now is I'll just do what I normally do. I'll speed things up, and we'll drill a series of holes around here. We're going to drill a hole in there, cut that out. I'll get the hot glue gun warmed up, and then we'll stick that to there, and then we'll in fact, I just thought of something then. What I'm going to have to do is hot glue gun that to that when it's inside there, otherwise if I squeeze that up sideways it's not going to fit in the jar. Silly boy, I should have thought of that. Right, so that's the new plan. So it's hot glue gun now all around there, and then we push that in quick and we hold it onto the top, and once it's in there then it's going to be in there. And then in the future, if we ever want to take it out, we just give it a little bit of a twist and it'll pop that seal off, and we can take it all out and strip it down if we need to. But that's the plan. It would have been funny that, wouldn't it? I got all the way there and going to get it in the jar and it wouldn't have fit. Never mind. Right then, so that's what we're going to do. So I'll speed things up for you guys now, and we're going to start drilling holes. Guys, we've done our little holes there. Now we've got two of these little undergravel filters, which, if you can imagine now, that's the bottom of the jar. My hand, they're going to sit on the bottom there. And we're going to have our lift tube coming out from there, and then we're going to fill that entire area over there and all around this side with sort of pea gravel size, and then we're going to get different size medias, because we don't want to block the holes up. If it's too small, obviously it's going to fall straight through there and underneath, which we don't want, because that'll defeat the object of our filter working. So we're going to need some bigger stuff on the top first, so we don't block up these little holes, and then some little bit finer stuff on the top, and that will give us sort of a two-stage filter system then. So what I've got to do now is I'm just warming up the glue gun. You remember I said before that if I glued the tops on like that, I'm throwing them away now, look. If I was going to glue the tops on like that and then put the pipe on the top wherever I put them like that, I'm never going to get them in the damn jar. But the good thing about hyperlapse footage is it's 2 seconds for you, but it's good thinking time for me while I'm drilling all these holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it in underneath like that. So now we're going to put a little bead of glue. In fact, I'll probably do it on the inside to save on the glue. In fact, it makes no difference, it's going to be covered in sand anyway. So we can put a bead of glue around there, let that go off, and then all we do is we stick our little bit of tube on the top of there and our little carbon filter on top of there, and it's done. So when we want to take it out in the future, now all we got to do is do that, and we can pull it out and bend it up and take it back out through. So always a good time to have a think when we're doing these speedy footage things, and we thought of something good. So what I'll do now is I've got my old glue gun warmed up. Like I said before, guys, if you're a younger viewer, be careful with these heat guns, because if that glue gets on your skin, you won't get it off in a hurry and it'll keep burning. So be very, very careful with these, because because I've had myself once and twice before. So be careful. And you're not going to need tons of it on there. Just put like a little weld bead. All the way around. Just like that. Okay, and just hold it in place for a minute or so till it cools down, and the heat from the plastic will soon take that the heat from the glue. So that's that in place. Now we'll do the other one. What I've done here, guys, as well, if you look underneath, there's with these there's a little air tube as well. See, that's where the air's got to go in. So we're going to have to put the air line through the hole there, bend it around, and then poke it up the hole. Okay, so the oxygen, so the air is going up, which will give it that draw effect. So I've drilled another hole just to the side of it there, which corresponds to that hole there, you see. So when that's in there now, you line them up through there. See that hole lines up, so you can push the air line through. Hold that in place, and then we just repeat that process again with the hot glue all the way around. And now that's that one in place as well. Don't worry about the little furry bits that come off, because as soon as it's dry they'll just snap off very easily. So there we go. Now we've got two of those, and we've got two of these guys, which now will sit on there like that. So we're going to have to wait for those to dry now, and they shouldn't be too long, and then we'll get on to round two. Alright guys, there we go. We've fitted the both, we've both got them, they're in there now. Just squeezed them up sideways like I said, put them in. Thought I'd press play actually, I was going to show you me doing that, but I'd forgotten to press play. Silly me. Well, there you go. Right, well, they're in. So now that's basically it. Once they're in, you can obviously straighten them up a little bit. Now what we've got to do with, because we got the taps here, like on the last build, I thought I'd leave these. I put the other tap at the back, but I thought with these, I think they're pretty funky with them at the front as well. So you can do your water changes like the other one. It'll go through the gravel. But what I would suggest you do is cut yourself a little bit of foam. Like I got lots of these little offcuts like that. And inside there you see you've got the hole. Now I'd make a little core out of this stuff. And all you need is a pair of scissors. Chop a piece off like that. Take the corners off. And that's going to give you a little core shape like that, you see. Then you can reach in there. Poke him in there like so. And then what we got like a little mini pre-filter there going through, so anything's not going to get clogged up in there as well, just to make sure. And then you can do your tap, turn it on and off like that, do your water changes, and then just refill them through the top again, which I think will be quite a little funky idea. And right, so that's that done now. I love these little Sunday builds. I get stuck into here and I just think of something to do, and we get on with it. I do enjoy them. Right now, I think what we're going to do with this now, we've got to work out the lights. Now the lighting for this is actually we'll get to that. We'll get to the lighting in a minute. What we've got to do is run out Now with the heaters, because these are tropical fish, we've got to heat these tanks as well. Now what I'm going to do with this one, there's not going to be anything going in the jars at all, but with the stand, okay, that's about 5.5 inches across there, okay, by a foot, just about a foot long there. Now a reptile heat pad will work perfect in there. You just slide it in across there and you sit your 2 jars on it, and that heat will then permeate up through the jar and keep them up to temperature. And you've got little thermostats on these things these days. We'll go down the reptile shop and I'll buy one of those, a small one. They'll probably be under £10, and for a small nano one, which are no bigger than that for these little tiny tanks. But that's how we're going to heat this. I've done this before, and given time it does go up, but once it's the temperature in your room, you'll find it'll be fine. It'll keep that temperature constant pretty accurately. So, because they've got to be accurate, these things, obviously, because they're keeping reptiles alive. So that's the heating side of things sorted out. We'll get onto that in another stage during the week as we're putting this video together. Now with these lids, what I've got these little funky little lights here. Now I went down, and the great thing about these is you can buy them in any little stores, but they're magnetic, and they'll just stick in the lid like that. Hold it upside down, centralise it, and it will just stay in there. It does slide because they're fairly heavy. Now these have got batteries in, they've got AA's in them. They've got 3 of them in there, but these things last for years with these little lights. Now with this type, you can either have it on, and look, you can see how bright that is. That's really going to light that up nice under there. But you've got a sensor with these. If you look in the center of that one, you'll see there's a little light sensor. Now you can set that to, hang about, let me do it the other way. You got auto, off and on. Okay, so it's on auto. That means as soon as it gets dark, it comes on by itself, you see. Or you can have it off or constantly on. Sorry for blinding you there, guys. But these are 3 watt, they're very powerful little lights, and they've got this funny little like gel ring with the LEDs pucks, which are situated in there all the way around, if you can see those little dots. And the whole lot seems to glow, so it makes the whole lot illuminate inside. So it's a clever little design, and they're going to work really well. But the great thing is because it's magnetic, okay, what we can do now, we're going to get the hot glue gun. You see the way that's just stuck onto there, but we'll add some hot glue as well, and we'll get that central in there. And then all you do is you just push your light on afterwards, twist it in so you can take it off, change your batteries, which is as and when they need doing. Or if it's for your kids in a bedroom, which I think would be fabulous for them, when it gets dark, if you've got it in quite a lit room anyway, and you haven't got plants and things in there, as it gets dark, as it gets dark, the sensor light will come on. So as your kids go to bed, these lamps are going to just pop off, they'll come on, and there we go, and that'd be fantastic. So now we've got the switch, which is there, and we want it to come through. So I thought what I could do, I just drilled a series of little holes there. Okay, so when you click that back on again, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that out. I'm going to cut like a little hole out around there. Okay, then we're going to get like a piece of rod or something like that to go through and clip around the little switch at the top. Okay. Right, I've just cut that out with my little Dremel. Poor little Dremel. When I had the fire in the shed, in the workshop here, all the chargers and everything went up in smoke with these, so it's still got a good green light on it, so I'm trying to find another charger for it. But I've just cut that out there and there. So now when we click that back on, try and do it in the right place, Mark. Now we can see the little switch. You can't really see, it's a bit dark. But what I'll do is I'll get another little sander on here now, and I'll just clean the edges up and make the hole a little bit bigger. I won't take you through all that, but I'll pause you a minute. I'll come back to you in a minute, okay? Right, there you go guys, we've cut the hole out now so we can see the switch. Now what we've got to do is we've got to extend that switch there with a little tube coming out through there, which we're going to then, when it's stuck to the lid like that, it's going to come through the top and give us our switch from the top, okay? So basically all we're doing is we're just extending that little black switch down there. So we can get our finger in there now and turn it on. So now I've got to find something around this workshop that's going to fit over that little thing that we can glue onto there. So I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to do some mooching about, see what I can find, and I'll get back to you in a minute guys, alright? Okay guys, what we've got here is, I've just made up one of these. So we put that in the lid. Okay, we've glued it in. It's in place now in the centre. But what I've done on the top there is I've drilled a hole, and I put in a piece of, I extended it through with a piece of car aerial, bit of old aerial. It was actually a telescopic little magnet I had for picking up tools, which I had in my toolbox. So now we got an extended switch, see, on the top. So that's all good. And the thing is now, what you've got to remember is, I know it looks a bit untidy by being a biggish hole like that, but you could also put some black, I've got some black self-sticky back plastic on the, which I might just cut a piece to the centre, sorry there guys, in the centre there to cover that hole up, and just put like a little cut through it so that slides over the top. Okay, so it does hide that hole. Reason for it being is, when you want to change the batteries in these little guys, you've got to twist it, see? So that means that's got to be able to twist in there to leave that behind. And that's why we had to cut a bigger hole out in the inside as well. So when that pushes back in there now, then you lock it in place. And now we've got the lid there then, which can screw back onto the top there nice and tight if we need it to. So that one's done. And just to show you what I did, I used this grinder again, but I just use a little sand wheel on there like that. Okay, and just wind it up, and I'll just show you how I did that. Alright guys, now we've got a nice little hole cut in there. Mind out when if you do use these, because that plastic does get quite hot and it starts melting, but you can get your finger in there now, move things around, and then that little bit of aerial there slides nicely. You'll have to obviously see which section that you've got. We'll extend it then through there, and then what we'll do is I'll get my snips and we'll just give it a slight bend, because it's a little square plug in there. So if we slightly make that a little bit oval like that, and then it'll re-stretch over it again, much to be honest. Yeah, that's better. Now that's on there now. Now all we got to do, put that in the middle again, get the hot glue gun, and we'll just squeeze a little bit in that hole. Whip that off there and try and be as quick as you can, because that metal's going to take the temperature from out of that quite quickly. And hold it upside down as well. We don't want it dripping onto the little switch inside. That should have cooled down. It doesn't take long at all to cool down. And then once that's done, sorry, I keep going out of frame now, I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. Get that leveled up, and then from the top, just pour some hot glue now into the top. Go really slowly with this bit. And that hot glue then will just sink slowly into there. If you wanted to, what you could do, you could apply some heat to the side of this tube. I think I'll do that. I haven't actually got my lighter handy at the moment, so if you just held that up with a lighter and just warmed that up, then the glue's going to run down right inside all the way around that, because the bottom part's is gone off now. So but now you've got a switch that you can use. Okay, if you think about centering it up in there like that, okay, I know it's disgusting, put a bit of spit on it and then go back to the centre where you think the centre is and just touch it on there, and you get that little bit there, see, and then you know exactly where you need to be drilling. And you just got to drill that hole through like that. Now make sure you drill it in from this way when you start going back in again, alright, because you want that burr to go on the inside. You see the way that's burred out like that? You want that to do that the other way, and then we can grind that off later on. There we go, we've got the same size hole in there now. That's why those step bits are brilliant, because you can do all that. And now what I'll do, see you got the burr inside like that, that's really sharp, so be careful with your fingers on that. But what I'll do now is I'm just going to whip that off with this little grinder. Rightio, that's that done. Now that's all done. If you're only sure and you want to make it a little bit bigger, you can always tap it down with a hammer and flatten it that way. You don't even have to flatten it. If you've got something, you know, which is round like the end of my screwdriver, you can put it on a work surface and just bump it flat again like that. And then you can get your grinder in there and whip it out. Now that goes through there like the other one, and then all you got to do is get that exactly where you need it to come off again. Don't forget, that's important to get that twist right. Okay guys, see there, the way that bent that peg over, I need to take a bit more out of that side with that grinder, so we'll do that. Right, now when it's twisting in there, Now it can move, so you can take it apart and change your batteries. See, that's important, that bit, don't forget that bit. Fine. Well, good idea to do, guys, when you actually put that piece in there like that, is just put a little dab of glue there and there first. Just fix it in there so it's easier to get off if you need to shift it, and then you can put your little aerial bit through there again, and then you can just see that you can twist and make sure it's clearing both ways, because you've got to be able to have it clear like that and be able to move as well. Okay, so that's when it's on, it's just touching that side there, you see. Put it to the center, that's off. Sorry, that's on that way, center's off, and then that's the nighttime. That's the nighttime setting there, and you go back to the center for off. Right, so they go on there now. One of those on there, and the other one on there. So what we got now we know it's all fits well and everything else. Now we can get the glue gun and a nice new stick in there. Put the glue gun inside. Sorry it's awkward, guys, but and then just literally squeeze and let it run in behind it and give that a good seal, but don't go over the seal, which makes it come apart where you change the batteries. Now just keep rotating it and squeezing the glue. Try and keep the gun still and just rotate the lid. And this will keep everything now waterproof around the back and underneath. There you go. That's welded in now all the way around. Leave it up that way for a bit and let that cool down, and there you go. You've got your nice little lid now with your on off bit on there, so you can turn it on and off. And then that just screws on the top like that. They make really good little shrimp tanks, these as well. Right, screw them guys on there. Now we can clear that out of the way. Clear the decks. And bring our little stand around now. Right, what I'll do now, guys, we've got those back in there. I'll bring you around this side and we can have a little look. So we got the filters now. We've got the nice little cage rack in there. We've got our built-in lights at the top, so we can fill them up to about there, just up the top nice with a little bit of oxygen. What I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to drill a series of holes all the way around here and all the way around here, just to let you know. I'll take the lids off and I'll drill them from upside down. I'll just shake that off a minute so I can show you. Around that side of the glue there, you've got that little piece right up in the top of the corner there. You can see like that little band going all the way around. going to get a little 5 or 6 mil drill bit and drill a series of holes all the way around there, okay? But I won't take you through all that. You all know how to drill holes. So we screw that back on there like that. So now we've got our switches, which are equally on each side. I think we should turn them on. Okay guys, I've just put them against the white background there because the rest of my tools were glowing up and I've given it a bit of a glare behind. But I've just turned all the lights off now in the workshop here, so we'll go in and we'll turn them on. Wow guys, they're really bright actually. Excellent little lights. And you can think it's 3 AA batteries powering those in each, and they're going to last for ages. You can have them on the sensor mode because they're sensor lights, so you can have it in your nipper's bedroom or wherever, or in yours, or wherever you want. When it comes on, it'll be like an evening light when your lights come on. When it gets dark, these guys will come on automatically with the sensor inside, so that's pretty handy. Brilliant stuff. Okay guys, on the next video we're going to spray the backs black, I think, and which will give it even more of some more depth into the back of these jars, and we'll plant them up, little bits of plants and stuff, and then we'll get the fish in. Alright then guys, thanks for watching. You're all stars, love you loads, and I'll see you in the next episode of Mark's Aquatics. Okay, bye for now guys.
Just me and my guitar.